Good evening. It is Dr. Marlena. Because she is my sister, I am back here for the third time. Hallelujah. Glory to God. We are going to get this right. Well, we got it right because we showed up. And see, when you show up, that's half the battle. I am going to get out of the way. If you've been following throughout the day, we did come out live this morning, but it was choppy and the technology wasn't working. And there was a powerful and mighty message there from our guest tonight. Our guest is Gary Manuel, the author of The Black in the Box Mentality. We're going to smash that thing. We're going to get right into it because he had so much to say and technology wasn't on our side. So, Father God, we come before the throne. All you ask of us is to take action, to have faith, and to allow you to work in us, through us. Father, the way we find our purpose is not being right or wrong. It's in the journey, Father. We got up this morning thinking it was going to be one way, and it takes a different turn. And how we come to that thing with humbleness in our heart and saying, look, I want to be obedient, Father. I'm being obedient. Not that I want to be. That's like trying. I am being obedient to your word, Father, and I'm going forth. I ask you to bless this session tonight, that my sisters, because she is my sister, she would walk away with some tools in her tool belt that will heal her heart, that will close some of the gaps, that will answer some of the questions that she's been pondering. In Jesus' name, we go forth. So let me just tell you a little bit about our guest tonight, who he is a personal friend. It's one of those friends that you go from. Was a great ahead of me, I believe. But from elementary school all the way through high school, they live in the neighborhood. And wow, I am so impressed. He is definitely a man to be heard from. And you say, well, Dr. Marlena, why am I hearing from a man? And because she is my sister. Because sisters, you and I speak the same language. And many times we miss the message that a man has. If you are familiar with the term, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, yeah, we speak a different language. And so today, as the guest moderator for the beautiful month of March, and I'm kind of sad to see it coming to an end as far as my time with you as the moderator. I thought I'd bring a different voice, a different perspective. So I have tonight the author of The Black in the Box Mentality. Not about really race, not about gender, not it's about heart and choices and journey for you to be able to see clearly. Gary is a transformational life coach. He owns multiple properties, so he is a serial entrepreneur. His heart is in housing our military men and women. So he has properties around bases. That's supporting those that support us to have our freedom. Right there, that tells you where his heart is. He's worked on achieving his American dream, and he wants you to know that you don't have to be a victim in this culture, in this life, and on this journey. You can be victorious, with your purpose. When you find it, when you get to Jesus, when you get to collaborate, co-create with God, anything is possible. He is a family man. He's married. He has with his beautiful wife Kieran, and she's been so helpful in this process. I can't wait to just like give her a big old hug. Two beautiful children in that household, and adult children. He's a grandfather. I believe he said of six. So it's a man off after my heart in the sense that he has been tried by the fire, and now he stands today refined and playing the message forward that you don't have to live in a box. You can be what you want to be, and you can be supported. I'm going to bring him in because I could keep talking about him this way, and you not get to meet him. And I don't want our time to go by really fast. Gary, you there?
I'm here. Thank
There
you.
you are. We can hear you. We can see you. So I thank you again so diligently for saying, you asked me to do this and I wanted to provide you with quality. And I thank you for that, that you would, adjust yourself accordingly to be back here tonight. Um, the floor is yours. What would you like to? I've introduced you. They kind of know a little bit about you. Tell us. Where did the book come from?
It's my pleasure to be here tonight, Dr. Marlena. And your book, Rediscovering Your Destiny, is such a parallel book with mine. And just to get to your point, where did it come from? For years, a lot of us, including you, I'm sure, have been in situations where you feel people, society, or situations kind of feel comfortable boxing you in. So the term, the black in the box mentality, was the confinement in an enclosure, and any enclosure with no light coming in is black in there because it's dark. So
Yeah.
the term in the book, as you've seen because you've read it, is not race specific. There's no specific nationality. I'm not referring to black people in general. I do share that I love my black people, and because loving is doing,
Mhm.
sometimes that includes sharing some truths that some people may not be comfortable with. But if the statistics back me up, I have to be relevant with that truth. So therein lies the concept, which was the black in the box mentality. And I had to be direct with it in terms of that enclosure that includes so many nationalities around the world, knowingly or unknowingly, because a lot of things happen to us culturally that we kind of fall into. Like
Mhm.
we talked about earlier years ago, LL Cool J walked around with one pants up in videos, one pants leg, and one pants leg down. And
Mhm.
next thing you know, you saw kids walking around the street resembling that.
Yeah.
Uh, crisscross. They flipped their pants backwards, and they saw the kids doing it. So sometimes to be cool, we do things naturally, especially growing up in the community where we did.
Mhm.
So I have to put myself on the fire first. So I share throughout my book my uh, transparency with being what I call locked in that illusion because of my mind and the handicapped mindset that I had. I had to give it like a church testimonial and be transparent, honest, because the only way to get to people sometimes is to tell them your truth and the road you have walked, and sometimes you can reach some of them, and that's the blessing, to be able to reach out to some of them. So that's where the basic concept came from. But throughout my working career, I've had people try to pigeonhole me and say you don't act, walk, talk, or like the regular walk of the mill street brother. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Sometimes they'll try to pigeon you there, like as if we have to be one way. We all walk, talk, and act. So if we act a little different, or if we try not to be confined in the way that they feel most comfortable, that may throw them out of their character because they want you to be. When I say they, meaning certain people that throw salt or pessimistic or cynical. The three things: pessimism, cynical, and demeaning. Those three kind of go hand in hand in keeping people pigeoned in a certain area, keep them
Right.
locked in. But we don't have to, like you so graciously mentioned, we don't have to be confined. We don't have to be have the mask that you mentioned so eloquently in your book. We don't have to have the various masks. And you mentioned so many masks. I have to be clear on that. That's why our books are somewhat parallel, because whether it be a mask or a confined box or whatever you want to call it, I particularly care to embrace both of them because it's not relevant in terms of it being an illusion. And
Mhm.
once we see it, we can break out of that and grab this American dream. That's why the box is open. And you see an arm sticking out and grabbing the American dream. That was a strategic, kind of like your purpose you talk about
Yeah.
beautifully. You have to have a purpose.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yes.
Absolutely. So many things came to mind with that. Gosh, what uh, you're right. Our books are parallel. I mean, it's sort of like a companion set. It's like we
Mhm.
didn't know it, but God was like, this day was going to happen. And when you start looking beyond the box, if you will, and you start pulling off the mask for what it is, then you have a starting place to start changing what it is that you don't like or you don't feel comfortable or the story you've been feeding yourself. And I find that on some of the pages of your book as well as mine, that we bought into a mindset, if you will,
Yes.
and so we were following that mindset, LL Cool J with the pants. And when you said that before, I immediately thought about Chris Cross, with the clothes backwards. And then we don't ask why we're
Right.
doing these things. We just see the masses doing them, and we kind of latch onto it. One of the things I encounter with the women I coach, and why I thought this would be a good space to talk about, because she is my sister. Many of us that are on our journey that have sort of found our purpose now, and know where God is saying go, go at this season in our lives, we don't find support. We don't have support. I mean, I've been fortunate. My husband's kind
Mhm.
of like, I'm holding down the home front. You go out and do what you need to do. I'll be here. But many women don't find that. And one of the
Yes.
things you said is that I'll hold your purse, I'll hold your keys, I'll hold, and I got
Yes.
this flashback to Sanford and Sundays when Aunt Esther, when she was getting fired up to go to
Right.
bed, she would say, "Lester, hold my purse," and he'd be like holding her purse, you know. So
Exactly.
how do you, how, I don't even know if it's how or where do you get that type of support where you can say, yes, I want my significant other, my spouse, my sisters, my cousin, whomever I'm in relationship, to be able to go forth with their message, and I'll stand here and hold their purse while they do it. Where does that come from?
I have to go all the way back, and I didn't get a chance to talk about it earlier because it
Mm-hmm.
just came to me, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the beauty of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
He'll give you certain things. My cousin Ronnie Watson,
Mm-hmm.
getting in a fight at Fillmore Elementary School, or they call it Broadus now, and I held his platform shoes while he got in a fight with a guy. I'm not going to name his name, but
Right.
that's my cousin, and we're still close. And
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things I believe in, hands-on assisting each other, because when you really love people,
Mm-hmm.
my thing is, don't talk about it, do it, be about it.
Yeah.
And so the hands-on approach, like I mentioned earlier when we were talking today, whether it be you need me to hold your purse for a minute, or to if you're in church and you're hot, and I got one of those fans that they had back in the day in church to
Mm-hmm.
keep you cool while you giving your talk,
Right.
or whatever it may be. You might have some slippers, you let me hold one while you spank your kid with the other one.
Right.
It's kind of like one of those things that, to be active, which is the antidote, by the way, to most problems. You have to take action. The antidote to the problematic issues most of us have that are self inflicted is to take action towards some type of plan, like your book discusses and mine, in a resolution, an absolution, going to the Lord, asking Jesus to forgive you for your sins sincerely, and being active in it. And therein lies the solution, which is through God. And it all comes back to that. And that's why I'm so impressed with you. That's why I'm so proud to be here tonight. I'm not just about the money. You won't see pictures of celebrities that I deal with daily on my pages. I don't believe in the fake life and trying to act like people are my friend, that aren't, just to impress people. Same thing about your growth and your mask. Those masks are so special to me because there's so many different masks we put on daily, in that box, that inclusion, that is an enclosure. But yeah, that's where it came from. It's the hands-on method to assist you. If I'm calling myself your supporter, your spouse, your boyfriend, your significant other, we need to understand active participation, like we spoke about earlier, is what prevents problems, and it gives the confidence we need to feel good, like we have a supporting cast around us.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, that stood out for me. I've been fortunate enough to know maybe not all the my husband didn't maybe understand some of the things I wanted to do, but he never said don't do. He never held me back
Hmm.
from doing. It's funny we laugh about it now. He didn't even know I was having that, but he knew I was having surgery, but he didn't know the details of the surgery. It was
Mm.
like, "Hey, I support you if that's what you want to do, you're fine to me, but you go forward, and then when he found out, later what I'd done, he was like, what, why did you even do that? But you know how that is with life. One of the things we talked about, and we were referring to earlier, we did do a broadcast earlier, but like I said, the feed was so choppy. Gary was like, I can't give that type of quality. I'm a man of substance, so we're doing it in the time and space that God allows. So, uh, but one of the things you talked about earlier was, how do we talked about budgeting? How do you suggest that women approach this topic, because one of the things that tears couples apart is finances, and
Thank
how,
you.
how do you approach, what is your recommendation to approach that conversation about budgeting?
And I'm thankful that you given me an opportunity because I touch on it in the book. But like you mentioned, sometimes the book is a precursor to starting a conversation and to expand from there. So
Yes.
one thing I want to target right now is reserves.
Hmm.
Most people, unfortunately, aren't understanding of what reserves are. They're not your money you need to pay your bills for that particular month, for that week, for that particular amount that you need to sustain your household
Hmm.
immediately. Reserves are money over and above what you need monthly. And you need that in order to get a loan for a home, for example. They want you to have minimum 3 months of reserve. So to break that down, if your budget for the month of necessity bills, if you don't have many bills, is $2,000, you need at least 6,000,
Hmm.
three times the 2,000 available in a savings account where the bank can see it in order to get a house loan, along with 2 years of good payment history. So
Hmm.
to get back to just a basic household and a family that could prevent stress upon each other, husband or wife, or boyfriend or girlfriend or companions, you
Hmm.
need to realize each of you pays into that, meaning that your responsibility in order to get to that point, so to keep stress off of each other, may take some planning, may take some preparedness. Like I do lunches still to this day. I'll have my lunch prepared daily with goodies that I want for the day in a lunchbox with the little coolers, and we'll budget throughout the month. Now we don't need it, obviously, is back
Hmm.
like I did back in the day, but it became a habit. So those habits give you available money to continue, and the stress of not having your partner abuse that uh, uh, is beautiful. Now, most couples have problems with that because we have differences as what is a necessity and what is a unneeded expense. So those are the differences with but arguing and problems and stress. Whereas a lot of people have different expenses, where cable bills, extra movies ordered, extra things online you paying for, Amazon Prime. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
it's always somebody ringing the doorbell. You never see them. It's like a leprechaun or something, because you look out, nobody's even there. But those boxes, that total by the end of the month can be horrendous. So once again, you need to come to grips on what is a necessity and what is not, in order to gain reserves. Now, the beauty of a reserve is it'll take you through those things that always winds up coming through. And
Mhm.
once you build it, you're in a better situation to maintain the hardships like this pandemic we're still dealing with right now.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
many people just were not prepared.
right.
We use the term paycheck to paycheck, and many people were literally with those. the prices of everything are, a paycheck, or not even a full paycheck anymore, from
Hmm.
a dire situation. But how do you start the conversation? How would a spouse start that conversation?
Thank you for asking, because that's a really touchy subject that also creates animosity in a couple, because we in general, and I say we because I put myself there, that's
Mhm.
what's important to me to say that my and I do call it my stupidity. I use that term along the way in the book at sometimes, at some points rather. Ignorance is a better word, of not knowing, and that's what the word ignorance is. It's not knowing.
Mhm.
Uh, 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 of having a budget, or how to approach my spouse or significant other. And
Mhm.
as I mentioned, my first marriage, it wasn't so much that I was this extremely horrible person, but I wasn't the man I am now. So I think sometimes in therapy and through help and mentoring, we learn that our habits become us. So I wasn't the man of discussing it with my wife I am now, or to ask her certain things or ask her opinion, or to even see certain things that she might see important to her, that at the time, my first marriage, I didn't think it was that important. So I think that's what's important, that we come to grips and seek out mentors like Dr. Marlena, Gary Manuel, or read our books.
Mhm.
Rediscovering Your Destiny is a beautiful example. So what we can do is start having the conversation in a polite, uh, uh, caring manner. Honey, check this out over here. I just want to show you what's happening, with this situation over here, and just showing people, just showing examples of what's going on that's on your heart or in your mind that you feel might be appropriate to the relationship. And once you start having these genuine conversations and give each other the time, like Pastor Terrell Stewart mentioned, sometimes just sitting down and relaxing and clearing your mind is very important. That stuck with me when I heard her in one of your talks online,
Mhm.
because sometimes we really need that time, and it may be once a day if we could do that with each other, and it could be over the phone, just a genuine sharing of the mind, what's going on with each other, and maybe being careful to talk, slow to talk, and maybe slow to listen, and work on listening. That's so huge with relationships, and certain key things like that. I tap into. Thank the Lord that I see it as relevant. But I think that's it. Actually listening to your woman, listening to your man, and maybe he might have something on his heart. Now, he might come to share some stuff that he'll talk himself out of, and realize that, wait a minute, maybe I don't need to get that 6 pack of beer. I don't drink, but maybe I don't need to have 2 6 packs in a week. Maybe I can have just
Mhm.
one. Maybe that'll give me more mental clarity and better our relationship. So, certain things, when you talk it out, people can see a picture in a conversation, or a story like Dr. Marlene and I have in our books, where you can actually read it, because I learned through people's
Yeah.
talks and stories.
Absolutely. I mean, and the thing is, we in life we look at the differences that we have. It's always, something that we are different about. When reality is, we're more in common than we are different. And if
Yes.
we start looking for those shared experiences, like our books, again, we're sitting here laughing that, wow, God, God has a wicked sense of humor. He's a gentleman with a wicked sense of humor.
Yes.
We had no clue.
No
We're
clue.
opposite, ends of, well, not far away, but what, 4.5 hours away, haven't seen each other in years, that we would be writing about the same journey, but sort of in
Yes.
a different story. And it's the journey about, getting clear on who you are and what
Yes.
your intended purpose is. And so
Mm.
once that, I know for me, once I discovered that, if you will, I already had everything. So that,
Yes.
therefore, the rediscovery of. And then what I'm reading in your book is that I already have had all of this inside. And it took, and for both of us, it really did take those events that we went through for us to see it. Because God, He was
Yes.
standing there like, I already knew it was for you to see it.
Yes.
And then now that we're in this place, if you look at the values charts of humanity's values chart, we're out of survival, and some
Mm.
days it feels like we're still there because we're still alive, but we're
Yes.
now at the point where we're able to give back,
Yes.
on the values level of giving back and sharing. I mean, something as simple as my next question: how do you talk to your man about shared house duties? What would I say to him about his shared house duties? What should I say? What should my practices be?
This is a great subject because I really feel strong about this. And I mentioned, like in my book, just folding your socks or making the bed, maybe immaculately. Maybe you're looking for the wrinkles to get out of the sheet first and then the quilt and make sure it's nice and, even across. I mean, but you're giving it care, you're giving it love. And it's that hands on, which I think is so relevant. And when you're walking around, you see the trash in the bathroom. So I talk to my friends this way. I have a buddy just recently. I won't tell you his name, but his lady spoke with me and said, "I don't know what to do about it." And I try not to get involved in relationships and get in between them, but I talk to him privately, and I don't share the conversation I share with the different ones. But that being said, most relationships have issues with this because one or the other is neglecting the things right in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're stumbling over stuff, and you can actually see it when you work with people.
Mm-hmm.
um, I've been good on work sites for years, how to put my tools out of the way so I'm not falling over them when I'm working. And so when I need to grab something, and I know where it is, and while I'm walking around the work site, I don't have to be concerned with some hazard that's going to cause me to bust myself up and,
Mm-hmm.
and not be able to work. But there's a lot of people that don't care to do that. They do it like they did when they were a kid, where they just throw stuff everywhere and there's no rationale. And it's kind of like, you just kind of wing it, and you're walking around a maze when you're working with them. So there are habits that some people have daily that they don't realize makes the difference between the haves and the have nots.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have a plan, at least you're giving yourself a chance. So there's something that was told to me even in high school. Coach Johnson said the winners you can see when they walk in the room. You can see it how they carry themselves. So the same thing can be told when you discuss it with your spouse or significant other, which is, honey, did you see that over there? And it can be just a gesture. It doesn't have to be like a long, long nagging conversation, because
Mm-hmm.
men sometimes we have to slap ourselves because our ego can get in the way, or our
Mm-hmm.
pride. And it's kind of a selfish pride. And I kind of laugh at myself sometimes because you have to, like you said, our God is our beautiful God. He has a sense of humor. So you have to take and not take yourself so serious. And I would say that both men and women, and say, wait a minute, Gary, ooh, what was I thinking? I wasn't thinking. That's just it. I wasn't thinking. So let me take. I took the trash out today, for example. I took the recycling out today. I just have certain habits that make it easier on my wife. And clothing, the TV. Right now, we went and bought some products at Best Buy to help better technology, so I can speak this evening with you. And
Mm-hmm.
so I took the big TV off the wall, and we got to get an optical plug, because while I was there, I got a Bluetooth so I could be watching TV and when Karen is asleep. But in other words, that is to make it more comfortable so my wife won't wake up and the TV's not on. It's built my Bluetooth. I can have it as loud as I want. So it's all those little caring things.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to know how to make a relationship better, it is action. It is, what can I make it so I don't wake baby up that much, so she get good rest when she got to deal with kids, for example. She got to work
Mm-hmm.
early the next morning. So we sabotage ourselves, and we have to understand that a lot of our problems um, are self-inflicted.
So true, so true. Well, Gary, time flies when you're having a good conversation. So, thank you so much for joining us here. Because she is my sister, it's important that we have a well balanced conversation. with our spouses, with our whomever we are in relationship with. And so I want to tell you, Gary was so gracious to come here and speak to us. We are going to host him on Rediscovering Your Destiny, Mending Broken Hearts. We're going to go through his book like we have my book. We're currently in the Pastor Tori's book of When the Rain Falls, The Flower Blooms, Surviving Difficult Times in Marriage and Relationship. We are hot into those chapters right now. That's where he was speaking about. Pastor Terrellin was talking about you have to take time to sit down. We run, go. I mean, I'm hopping off of the last one onto this one, onto the next one. And we have to sit down. Also, what I heard Gary say to us women, because she is my sisters, and thank you, big brother.
You're
She is
welcome.
because she is my sister, communication is key. Communicating with your significant other. Tell him what you need. He is not a mind reader. And you heard Gary say a little bit about the old habits and patterns of leaving stuff down that they from when they were a kid. Many of us, many of them are still kids. We're still living, and you will find that in Rediscovering Your Destiny. We're still living in
Yes.
the past, and we haven't brought it to the future. I'll tell this story as I exit today. Every Thanksgiving, they would cut the legs off of a turkey to bake the turkey. And one year, the daughter asked her mom, "Mom, why do we cut the legs off of this turkey?" And she says, "Oh, you know what, daughter? I don't know." And then they said, "Well, let's ask grandma because she taught me." So they asked grandma, and grandma said, "Well, we cut the legs off the turkey because the pan was too small." And here we are, 3 generations deep, still cutting legs off a turkey. I'll let that ride with you on the way home. Think about that on the way home. We've been, cutting ourselves off to fit into a pan, a box, wearing a mask, whatever you label it. But we've been doing it because it's been passed down to us. So, Gary here has written, again, the author of The Black in the Box Mentality. Yeah, we got to shatter the box. And it's not about color, it's about the fact that you can no longer allow yourself to either be behind a mask or in a box. So, again, Billy Johnson, thank you for allowing me to be here, be your guest moderator for the month of March. I have loved upon all of you all this month as God has brought it to me. My big brother, George Stewart, says that he's proud of me. I thank you. And I sure hope Mama and Daddy and Mommy Gina and Papa, they're having a party seeing where we all have arrived at on this journey. But we have more to go. And so because she is my sister, I'm gonna love up on her. And God willing, I will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Eastern. You guys all
Thank
have
you.
a good day. Thank you again, Gary. Thank you for being the man that God is leading you into your purpose and your destiny.